Watching it scroll. Pete Winarski here. Welcome to this version of our Facebook Live, which is showing up in so many different places. It's on the Pete Winarski page. It's on the More Revenue, More Profit Facebook group. It's on our YouTube channel. And I am excited to have Paula Hopwood with me today. Hello, Paula.
Hey, Pete. I'm excited to be here. What a great day.
What I love is that this is going to end up on our podcast. People are going to hear this story, hear this guest. It's really great, and obviously, I talk a lot about more revenue, more profit. We want people to come on over to that group. And, there's a lot of times people get stuck and they think about it's all about the strategies. It's like, how do I make sure that I'm growing my business? What do I have to have in place to get more clients? What strategies do I need to be doing? From a marketing and business building standpoint, should I change up my offering, my product, my service? Should I do something differently? Should I add something new? Should I take away, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And then you realize that there's a whole lot that happens kind of behind the scenes, underneath. I'm pointing to my head, and what happens, you get in your head and you derail, like, oh, I couldn't possibly do that, or no, that will never work for me, right? How many of those times have you heard things like that, Paula?
Oh, tons. Tons. I used to live it, and then I work with it with people all the times. I mean, if you can imagine where you're living a life where nothing is stopping where you can manifest with grace and ease, where you're starting that business, you're starting that relationship, where you feel really confident just to go out and do what you want, where you're not having those stumbling blocks anymore, like you just talked about. We're multidimensional beings, and we can come up with these different layers that stop us. And it doesn't feel good to be stopped, does it? Like it feels yucky. It feels it feels like sometimes it can make you feel like you're crazy. Like, why am I doing this? Because this keeps stopping me and that keeps stopping me, and it just doesn't feel good. Right. And so that's why I go ahead and I do this. And I'm so happy to be doing this for people that to help them to step forward in their energy with confidence, to step forward in their energy with ease, to go and live that life that they want. And I'm excited. I'm a part of that group too, the More Revenue, More Profit. And I receive so much value out of that. So I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, well, thank you, Paula. And that's exactly why you're here today, is because, people do run into that situation where it's like, okay, I know everything I'm supposed to be doing. I know the strategies. I've worked with, some of the best mentors. I've laid it all out. I know everything intellectually, exactly what has to happen. So why the hell am I not getting results? And enter Paula, enter you with some of that magic that you're able to sprinkle on, because of course we're getting in our own way, right? We're stuck. Maybe there's I'm going to give you permission to go as shallow or deep as you want today, because I know so Paula is part of the More Revenue, More Profit, our business acceleration program. So we're guiding Paula from that standpoint. But I've also personally hired Paula, to work with me one-on-one on some things. And so, this is why I'm giving Paula permission here. I'm giving you the sense that, Paula, you can go pretty darn deep on some things, depending on, I imagine you have a really good sense of your client's readiness. Like, how do you know, like, I'm going to stay on the surface with this person, or I'm going to go deep with this person? Like, what clues you into that?
I get a real sense for it. So I know I've lived my life, and I know that there was always a lid about how high I could go, or how high, my clients could go. And I thought there's got to be some way to burst through that lid. And in my life personally, a very wise person channeled for me. And he said, Paula, if you don't bring spirituality into your business, you're going nowhere. And you see, I used to be a corporate coach, right? So I knew, all the mental stuff, and that's the professional term for it, by the way. But
I know the first letter's an S. I'm not sure.
But I realized I was leaving behind something big in my life and in my business, and that was my spiritual side. And when I said we're multi-layered beings, we are. So, we have to look at things, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and cosmically too. And that's where I come in, is the spiritually and cosmically, and I deal with the emotionally and mentally as well, because there's brain repatterning going on and stuff. But we need to get to those layers. We're way more than what we've been taught. We're way more than what the world has shown us or told us that we are. And to bust through those beliefs, to bust through those energies and remove them and replace them with something else. So we have a seed growing inside of us that's been planted there, knowingly or unknowingly, quite often unknowingly. And when we come from that seed, we're constantly going to grow the same things. And we're constantly going to hit that lid where there's always going to be this lid on top of us of how high we can go. We're just constantly hitting it, right? And so we remove that seed and replace it with something else that allows us to grow like that. I'm thinking of a tree right now. You think of a tree, and when it first starts, it's a little seed. And what has to happen is it needs to go down into the ground and grow its roots, and then it starts to shoot up. And then it starts to grow layer by layer by layer out. And if we can tap into every part of us that's growing, we can keep growing out and out and out instead of stopping ourselves, right? Because we're meant to flourish, right? We came here to earth to experience this with grace and ease and love. We didn't come to experience being squashed down and hitting ourselves all the time and stopping ourselves and thinking we can't do it, or feeling like we're crazy, or feeling frustrated all the time because we got this great idea, this plan, and we want it to work out, be it a business or a relationship or whatever. And we keep undermining ourselves. So that's where I step in and I help, you've experienced some of this. I strip the energies off and do some reseeding,
Right.
if you will.
I have this image, your tree analogy of, potted plants, and that the pot is a lot of times the limit. Think of what you just described. I was thinking of and I forget the exact phrase because I'm not really a gardener type person. I know how to water the plant, but I don't know why. And so, if it's not growing more, and of course, it could be root bound inside the pot, right? There's no more room for the roots to expand, so it limits the amount of growth. And of course, if you could repot the plant into something that's now the next size up, and then the next size up, you can allow that tree to really go and grow. And of course, if you put it outside in the right climate, then there are no more restrictions, provided the ground and the soil is right and all of that. So I think I just uncovered this whole big long list of metaphors, around the soil and the size of the pot and the root bound pot and all this other stuff. So can have a lot of fun with this one.
Well, and I have a mentor, and he's incredible. Actually, he's the one that introduced me to John Maxwell, Paul Martinelli. I used to follow him. He's a good friend of mine. And he taught me, he said, Paula, tender dreams cannot grow in toxic soil, right? So when we're root bound, when we're not being nourished properly, when we're not nourishing ourselves, when we're not allowing ourselves the freedom of growing bigger, right? That's what we're doing, is we're creating that toxic soil. If we keep going back and having those thoughts or doing the same habits that have never worked before, or maybe not worked very well, we need to expand, get out of that pot, get a bigger pot, take care of ourselves, go outside, get rooted outside, like you say.
Right.
Yeah. And these are metaphors, but this is literally what I'm seeing. I mean, not only have I seen it in my life, right, but I've seen it in people that I work with. We're here to help each other. I know that too. We're not alone. We're not supposed to do this alone, right? We each have gifts, talents, skills, things that we brought forward in our life, things that we literally came to walk the face of the planet to share. And this is one of my areas of expertise, is helping people to be brilliant, to shine beautifully, to step forward with confidence, with ease, instead of doubting themselves all the time, to get out of that pot and go outside and plant themselves outside and be that great big beautiful tree that they came here to be.
Well, let's talk about this whole, this lack of confidence thing. And, it's interesting because, I know we're going to use the word manifesting because that's part of this, what I understand, and I know you do, and we have that commonality. And the reality is that people are pretty unlimited in their potential, and we can manifest. The idea of manifesting. Well, let's start by, what's your definition of manifest? What would that mean?
Honestly, I used to think it was calling in, and on one hand it is, but my idea of manifesting is accepting, receiving all that is. That's what it is for me.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
Yeah. So because we are provided for everything we need. Everything we need is within us, and everything we need that's within us is around us too. And so all we need to do is allow it. When I talked about hitting that lid all the time, we put that lid over ourselves. We put that container around ourselves. And if we can take that off, we can allow more to come into our lives, be it, opportunities, new thought patterns, it can be anything, personal or business, and we're made to flourish, right? So manifesting is about allowing ourselves, is about embracing that flourishing.
And then if you can shape what it is that you want in the first place by having a clarity of your intentions of what it is you want to create or experience, having goals set and those types of things. Now I love, it's like calling in, yes, but it's also allowing it. And so many people think that, well, it's so easy. I'm just going to sit back on the couch and I'm just going to dream up my goals, but they don't actually move off the couch, right?
They have to take action.
Yeah.
It's like wanting and I know maybe this isn't the best example because it's not exactly healthy food, but it's like going through a drive-through and wanting a burger and fries, right? Let's say you want a burger and fries from A&W, a popular restaurant, and you're sitting on your couch and you're really manifesting that burger and fries and that root beer too. It's not going to happen unless you get up off the couch, go to your vehicle, go through the drive-through. But it's more than that. When you get to that drive-through window, you have to know what you want, right? And not think that you can't have it, or not think that you're too crazy to have it, or not think that, oh my God, everybody else has it. Who am I to deserve to have it, right? You go up to that drive-through window and you say, the guy says, can I help you today? And you say, I want a burger and fries and a root beer. You don't say, oh, well, I sure hope I don't get chicken nuggets, right? I sure hope I don't get onion rings.
Please,
right?
Not those.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So when you put it out there, you need to put out what you want, not what you don't want, right? Because if manifesting is all about flourishing and receiving, then you need to receive what you want. And that's where taking that seed out of doubt, of worry, of lack. You take that seed out in your manifesting that you think you can't have it, and you allow it to come in. You allow it to flourish within you and grow. And that's the way I look at it.
And it's almost like the intercom is always staticky, right? So if you went up there and said anything, please, not the chicken nuggets and not the onion rings, but the staticky, they heard chicken onions or chicken nuggets and onion rings. So you get your order like, chicken.
I didn't want this.
I want chicken. Well, onion. What? But that's part of the process of being clear and focusing, as you pointed out, on that which you want. I heard a story. This is probably one that you could tell of. The person who had the battle of the two wolves inside of him. Right? Do you know the story?
Yeah.
I want you to tell it. You tell it.
Of course I know it.
Yeah. We didn't prep this at all, but that's what just came to me. Yeah, go ahead. Describe that.
So Now, I can't remember which indigenous culture it comes from. It's always labeled with one, and I honor greatly where it comes from. I just can't remember it. But basically, there's a battle of two wolves inside of us, right? And one is angry and fearful, and it's snapping and stuff. And the other one is looking at life effortlessly and confidence and peace and love. And basically, whichever wolf takes over is whichever wolf we feed. So if we feed the wolf with fear and lack, that's what we're going to get in our life. If we feed the wolf with peace and love and grace and ease, that's what we're going to get. We're going to get tons of abundance from that, feeding that wolf in our life, right? It reminds me of Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer said, and I've got to look this quote up because I probably butcher it every time, but the gist of it is that there's people in the world that see fear and anger and jealousy, and the world is going to hell in a handbasket, and stuff like that. And then there's other people who see the world with peace and love and grace and abundance, extreme abundance. You see, the thing is, though, it's the same world. It's just how we look at it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's a real powerful lesson right there, right? Because we're all living in the same world. We all have the same amount of time in a day or a week, right? We have choice in how we do what we do. You just use the word abundance. We were talking about confidence and the fact that you want to manifest. Well, you got to get off the couch, and I think some people don't know that they can get off the couch, that they can go to the drive-through, that they can make a very specific request. Et cetera, right? We keep playing these same metaphors over and over again, but they're really powerful, and they do the job.
Well, sometimes they can't get up off the couch because there's so much clutter too. Maybe they've cluttered themselves up. They're thinking with thoughts, holding them down. Maybe they can't get out through the living room or whatever. We clutter ourselves up by picking up these thoughts along the way, what the world has taught us, what school, religions, well-meaning people who don't well-mean, bullying, stuff like that. And these are all cluttering in our head, right? And so the thing is to release those, to reseed them, release them, get rid of the energy around that, because that's a lot of negative energy holding us down, and to release all that so we can be who we are. And that happens to be one of my superpowers. I don't mind saying.
I don't mind hearing it. Yeah. And neither should all of you listeners right now. You shouldn't mind hearing that at all from Paula. And part of that, the lesson there is figure out what your superpowers are and step into them and just agree. It's okay. It's interesting. You said you came out of the corporate background and, you were resisting. You had the seed, you had the calling, but you're like, I don't know, I'm doing this other thing. I'm behaving as I think I should.
Exactly.
Right. And then you had someone wisely point out, listen, you better bring some spirit into this thing. Otherwise, because that's who you are.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And we all need someone like that in our circle. And, I think, I'm happy that, I know you and you are part of my close friend circle, which is really cool. You've got this program that you are doing called The Abundant Life, and it's a lot of the principles that we just talked about. In fact, I'd written down the link. I'm going to see if I can grab this. I'm going to put it on if I did that correctly, it's good. It is. It's feeding along the bottom of our stream here. Abundantlife.paulahopwood.ca.
You can also, to make it simple, and I didn't think of this when I gave you the link, but just go to paulahopwood.com and go to the event page.
Yeah. Is it .com simple. Or .ca?
Well, either one, it'll take you there.
Good.
.com, .net, .ca. I own them all.
Smart. I think at any time, because I'm programmed for .com. Of course, you're up in Canada, so you use the .ca. But I always type in .com, and I never thought about it. Right?
It'll take you right there, and then just go to the event page. So either I don't know if you can copy and paste that link, or just go to paulahopwood.com and event. See, I like to make things easy.
That's it. And it is easy. And that's what, this is the ease and grace that is all about. life and, the results that you want. I know we were talking about, the fact that, some people are just like, they're ignoring that voice. And there's like,
Yeah.
I've always, I know you're not necessarily promoting to the world, listen, you should all leave your corporate jobs and go start a business. But I certainly recognize that that's, this something that I did, something that you did, something that many other entrepreneurs have done. And that's one of the things that when we were talking offline earlier, people have, it's a doubt, it's a lack of courage, it's a lack of certainty, it's a lack of clarity, it's a, they just don't have the confidence to step into that world at first, right? Until they
Mm-hmm.
lean into it a little bit more. And so you actually do help people in, not just for starting a business. That's a great example, but starting businesses or, achieving their dreams, and you just help unlock it and enable it.
Yeah. There's so many things that come out of it when we remove these energies off of us. One story is this woman, when I met her, she was in a woman's shelter with her children. And after working with me for just a short little time, just a few weeks, all of a sudden she moved out, went into a home. She was able to start up several little home-based businesses to help support her to stay home with her children. Her whole life has changed, right? And I'm got shivers running up and down me right now because it's just such a beautiful story, what we're capable of when we remove those bad seeds, if you will, that have been growing in us and replace them with the good ones. And I also want to point out, like starting a business, getting the relationship you want, whatever it is that you're wanting, it's because it's your next step. Right? It's your next step. For me, I shared how, I was trained corporate, and I had that person tell me that if you don't step into your spirituality in your business, if you don't bring that into your business, you're going nowhere. I realized that what I'd been doing up until that point, like I was a horse trainer for over 25 years. I've worked as a teacher's aide. Everything I've ever done in my life, including talks with friends, I have always inspired, empowered, and activated people in their life path, right? So we have seeds along the way. That's funny. I'm going about seeds now again, but we have little breadcrumbs, seeds, whatever you want to call them, along the way that show us our path. And, for me, this is my path. For someone else, maybe they want to be a mechanic. But you see, if you think that, oh, you know what? Oh, that's crazy to be a mechanic, or I can't do this, and you're setting yourself up that you can't be a mechanic. Well, not everybody has that dream of being a mechanic. You see, the dream of being a mechanic is your dream. You're supposed to live it, right? And so that's how powerful you are, is you came here to live your dream. You came here to be that person that you are deep inside. So let's remove those blocks. Let's remove those things keeping you stuck. Let's reseed everything and let you shine brilliantly, right? And strip down all that energy that's been stopping you, cluttering you up. And so, yeah, whoever's watching this today or whenever they're watching it, whatever it is that you're dreaming of, that you want, know it's unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your superpower, right? It truly is. Mm-hmm.
And then don't be root bound any longer, right?
Right. Yeah.
I love it.
Be okay with getting out of the pot and out into the world.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. So get out of the pot, go plant yourself in outside in better soil so that you can be the big tree.
Yeah. The big tree. Yeah.
So thank you, Paula, for being here today. And, everyone who's joined us and is watching this live, go ahead and add your comments. And even frankly, if you watch it, not live, but you caught it afterwards, put some comments in the comment feed there. So, obviously like, and then comment on this, because I want to know, like, when are times where you were, kind of stuck and fearful and didn't want to take a step versus you stepped into it and you gained confidence and you realize, wow, this is actually easy. I can do this. So go ahead and put something along those lines in there so we can kind of track your story along with how this goes. I want to know, hey, was this exciting to you? Did it work for you? What worked? What made it work? Put all of that sort of thing in the comments. Just tell us your story and keep this thing flowing.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you,
know,
Paula.
yeah, that's beautiful. I can't wait to read all the comments. And
Yeah. Well, that's going to fuel you even more because like you said, it's your superpower. That's why you're here is to kind of play in that space. So I imagine that would give you a lot of positive energy.
hmm hmm I love hearing people's stories, and triumph. It always reminds me, I'm a mother of four. And so it always reminds me of children learning to walk. So a child learns to roll over, crawl, pull themselves up, take those first few steps. Soon they're walking. Eventually they ride a bike, right? But if they laid on the ground and thought that, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm crazy for thinking I can do this,
Yeah.
or whatever they're telling themselves, they would never get up and walk or ride that bike.
Right.
And that's the power of the human spirit, right?
Right.
That human nature. So, and there goes the truth bumps up and down me again, those shivers.
Yeah, truth bumps. I love that phrase. So that, and as a mom, having a kid get on the bike, kid, you're just standing on the sidelines with the Band-Aids, right?
Yeah, right.
Here, put this helmet on and get going, right? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, thanks everyone for joining today. Paula, thank you for being with us. And come back to More Revenue, More Profit, the group. You can go to morerevenuemoreprofit.com, of course, but certainly the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups with an S/more revenue, more profit. Join us there if you are a business leader, if you are having some of these challenges to grow your revenue and your profits. That's what we're all about. All right. Take care, everybody. Catch you soon.
Take care.